I am a real person. My name is Gregory Joseph, and welcome to the Mean Machine Radio Show, live right here on 88.7 FM. This will come in as a pre-record to everybody a little bit later on. And we're also right here at WGAT, Jersey style, baby. Hope you're having a great Thursday. The date is September 19th, 2024. And very pleased to have a person that's on here today that, you know what, we had set this up and we got through it. And he's been gracious enough to join us today. He is an actor. He's been in many feature films as far as like made for TV movies. He's done commercials, a bunch of great stuff. And we're going to talk to him right now. He's going to join us via satellite. His name is Brian Elliott, and he's down in Virginia. So he's going to join Jersey for us. How you doing? Let's bring him in right now. Brian Elliott. So here we go. Let's see if we can pop him in there. Boom.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Brian, how are you doing?
I'm well. Glad to be here.
That's good. Yeah, glad to have you. So here we are on a Thursday afternoon right here. Welcome to Jersey, by the way. I hope you wiped your feet before you walked in. But in any event, it's good to see you, man.
Hey.
You heard your intro there. So you are an actor. Now, for people that don't know, to get yourself familiar or have them familiar with you, I should say, with our listening and our viewing audience here in the New York, New Jersey area. Tell them a little bit about who you are, Brian. Like, what are you doing here, man?
Man, I tell you, I'm on this rock just like everybody else, trying to pursue a dream. So I've been acting since 1998 and moved out to LA in 2005. Stayed out there for about a year, got my resume up a little bit doing independent work. Basically moved back to Virginia and started pursuing it on the independent side. And then became professional in about 2014. Did my first feature film in 2015 and released in 2016 called Loving. The movie was actually Oscar nominated for the lead actress, Ruth Negga. And been plugging away since.
Oh, that's great. So you've been active or back and forth since 1998, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. My first start was
20-something years.
Yeah. It's been about 26?
Yeah, 26. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give or take. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, give or take. And my first.
They said there'd be no math, Brian. They said
there'd be no math. They did.
All right, as long as we're on the same page, and don't get me calculators and shit around here.
Yeah.
I mean, goddamn, man. I've had a rough enough week. It's not even Friday, and already I'm having a tough week and everything, so I don't need to be doing math. We'll flash this real quick. There you go. Anyway, so my attempt at humor and not to be too critical. All right, so let's get a picture of you up there, of you smiling. There it is.
Yeah.
He looks just like you. There you are.
Hey, good.
Brick wall behind you. That looks ominous, man. You look like, you're ready to whip. You're ready to whoop someone. There you go. You're like, that's touching my cupcakes, man. So you've been in some made for TV movies, and are you active now? Is it just based because I know you're down in Virginia, and obviously we spoke about this or we touched on this before, where that's not actually known as like LA would be for acting, or New York would be for radio, let's say. So does everything come in like if you audition for something, is it automatically you send them like a video file? Do you do it that way, like a screen test? Okay, yeah.
So being in Virginia, a lot of the work comes out of DC, or you travel to New York or Philadelphia, and a lot of that stuff is done on videotape. We have things what we call self tapes, where we put together pretty much a small production of an audition. A lot of my New York guys will know what I'm talking about, and basically what we do is we have a setup where we have, just like this podcast or radio show, we have a lighting, webcam, and a reader, and we just do the script based on what they send us, send it in. Hopefully we get picked out of hundreds, if not thousands of people. So that's
thousands. Wow.
Oh man, the field is so crowded these days, but when you get called into the room to do a self-tape, you're probably still competing against hundreds of people. It's initially thousands of people submitting, but hundreds get picked to audition, and they narrow it down to a few. And then, if you get lucky, you get lucky.
So you just give it, you put your best foot forward, and you just let it fly. I mean, right? I mean, that's all you can do, knowing that you gave it your best effort. What more can you do? And then just hope. I mean, it's like back in the days, trying to get jobs. Radio, same thing. You're just waiting by the phone. It seems like, did I hit it? Did I nail it? Was I good enough? Was I not? Do they even have the right number? Do I call them? Has enough time passed?
Yeah,
going through your head.
It's got to.
Right? Okay.
Well, the trick to being an actor is, as they say, set it and forget it, but do it and forget it. So it's just about getting the numbers game going. You go about your week having either yourself or an agent submitting you the projects, and you get the auditions sent to you via email, and you just knock them out. That's the best you can do in this era. There was a time when I was acting, even when you were going to the casting office and you would perform your sides in front of the casting director. I like that a little bit better because that's when a lot more of my roles came about. When that process was going on, there would be maybe about anywhere from 10 to 30 or 50 people at the most being called in to be seen. So they had a more narrow field, and they knew more what they were looking for as compared to being self-tape, where they're accepting hundreds of submissions. So that's kind of the difference between now and even then. So, yeah.
And when did that come about? Like, when did it start to really get? Is it because everything was taped? So then it was, well, now all these other people, it went like, rather than them just showing up like physically, that's what?
Yeah. So it kind of, well, the tipping point was COVID. A lot of the casting directors and productions, they were kind of sneaking in a little bit of self-taping back, I would say mid 2015 to late 2019. And then when COVID hit in 2020, it was like, self-tape, because we're not trying to get you in here sick, and we're not trying to get sick off you. So it turned more into, let's save money also by doing that. It cut down the cost of having an office. It cut down the cost of, travel, all those things, flying people out to auditions and the whole rigmarole. And so about 2020 moving forward, it became a self-tape industry and a do-it-yourself industry, meaning you would have to pay for your own setup. You had to buy the lighting, your whole setup. You had to invest in doing that. And a lot of times you run into actors who have trouble finding readers because they're using their buddies or their friends. And the good thing about being in the union, if you live in
to do the script, you mean?
Yeah. Also, when I say size, I mean the script. So when you're in LA or New York, you may be able to go to the conservatory at the SAG-AFTRA union and self-tape there. But that just came about. So it's been a hassle, and that's what the strike was about a little bit when we struck last year. So
I remember that. Yeah, I remember because we were out in LA last May. Well, this past May actually, but that was for something else. But I remember when they had that strike. When was that? Was at the end of last year? Was that October?
That ran probably from, I think, June or July all the way through November. So it was about 4 or 5 months.
Right. It stopped. It was done before because from the union for voice actors and everything, which I obviously was participating in that part of it. But it was it was done before Christmas. I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, everything was.
And here we are.
Yeah,
I mean,
was negotiated.
COVID.
Yeah, it was negotiated.
COVID touched
in at the end of November. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just going to say that COVID had changed not just this industry, so many other ones. You know what I mean? And that's just one of the many casualties, I guess you could say, that we have. So do you enjoy acting? Is it just something like it's a labor of love? You're not in it for, like, some people do it for the money. Some people do it just to stay busy, and others do it just because whatever. I mean, maybe it's a little bit of both. I don't know. How do you feel about it?
If I was in it for the money, I probably would have quit 10 years ago and got. But
if I was in radio for the money, I would have been done in 1990. But anyway, we couldn't even blame it on COVID back then.
I
on bad attitudes.
I actually love it and enjoy it. I mean, it's been a labor of love for like the last 26 years, like we talked about, and I have been able to make money from it. I mean, not like I'm a millionaire or even 100,000 there, but I've made some nice paydays, and it's a craft. It's something I would probably do, irregardless of it was an end goal of being an A-lister or anything like that. I would probably still pursue it. So, yeah.
You just love doing it. You like
I
being.
do.
Do you have an agent? I already know who does your PR, but you have an agent that just like just feeds you stuff from time to time? Is it on any set schedule? Do you have certain parameters like don't call me or bother me with this stupid, whatever this that you just handed me or whatever, or is it whatever? Let me look at everything and then I'll make my decision. How does that work?
Well, I did just get signed maybe about 3 months ago. Basically, how we work it out right now is that they're submitting me for projects, and if I have something that I can bring to the table that's worth her while, she'll look it over and negotiate from there. And but right now we're taking baby steps in our relationship, and right now she's submitting me to episodics, and also have a manager who submits me to episodics and commercials as well.
Did you say that word again? What was it? Episodics?
Yeah, so TV shows.
All right, thank you. I'm
Yeah.
gonna come up with some radio lingo to have you triple that. What the hell? I thought he said empanadas. I'm like, now you're gonna make me. All right,
no,
so
like that.
I'm like, oh, she takes care of the empanadas. I'm like, all right, so she cooks too. Awesome. All right, so I have a clip here. This is off of your demo reel, and it's under Brian Elliott, which is your YouTube page. So I'm going to share the screen for everybody, so that we can check this out. So let me bring that up real quick. I want to be able to, so we can share this right here. All right, and we'll give a little disclosure that it's not for the faint of heart, we should say, because we watch it, and yeah, there you go. All right, so. Fasten your seatbelts. This guy belongs on the meme machine, no doubt. So, and we probably all have bosses that talk like this, but here we go.
I ain't got no money.
But if this clusterfuck comes back to bite me in the ass, I've been to both of you guys over, fucking you in the ass with a sandpaper covered broom handle and watch you bleed to death. Okay then. That's all. Get the fuck to work.
I told you, Mama said we gotta wait until tonight, okay?
But you said I can have anything on my birthday.
Did I say that?
Uh-huh, yes you did.
Gosh, because it kind of doesn't sound like something I would say.
You did.
Well, it looks like you already dug into the cake a little bit. What'd you do, come down here earlier today?
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, well look.
So, all right, well said there. Some of your people are like, oh my God, when do I only get certain calls? All right, so anyway, no, I'm joking. But all right, so you're on IMDb. That is accurate, right? That correct? The www.imdb.com/name.
Brian Elliott, yes.
Mm-hmm. All right, so resumes, actors. All right, so some people that are looking to get into there. Then they would know how to put it in there and just insert their stuff in there once they have a tagline and a link. Okay. So how old was that, by the way? What was that, from like 2016 or how old?
No, the Miss Virginia clip was from 2019, as well as the police officer scene was actually from last year. So we shot that this past year. Yeah.
And where was that? Where was that at? That was on BET. Was that on public? Which where did it air?
Miss Virginia aired on BET. It was a BET original. You can find it on BET Plus, the BET Network, as well as some other networks as well. It had a limited run in theaters. It's been on Netflix. It's been on Tubi. Yeah, so that was, I had seen the opposite of a Zoo Adoba who played Crazy Eyes in Orange Is the New Black. So
okay, I've heard of that. That wasn't that long ago either, right?
Yeah. So that was a fun scene to do.
Mm-hmm. All right, so there's your Facebook. So we'll just run on the crawl there. Some of your social media. So there are, for the people that would be listening in and not watching this, it would be facebook.com/WannaLead, WANNALEAD, and that's where they can follow you on Facebook. And you have, let's see, you had given me, boom. So there's the IMDb one. We'll run that. IMDb.me/Brian Elliott. So it's your name. BRIANELLIOTT. So IMDb.me//Brian Elliott, ELLIOTT. So they can find stuff out about you right there. Not that I'm going, but it says that you it says here, it says awards 2015 Covington Who's Who Award winner. So that was you. So you have won a little bit of hardware.
It's funny because at that time I was actually CFO of an internet radio station. WLR.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was kind of a fun time, and just handle some.
I know a little bit about that, Brian.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. I still don't know what that empanada thing was from before, but that's cool.
Episodic.
God bless you. Always willing to throw in a joke. All right, so you know what I will do, since I can't see shit with these on, I'll just read it with my regular eyes. Yeah, so this is what I'm reading is off the teletype. So it says, and I will narrate since I do that anyway. And it says, part of your bio here, it says Brian Elliott is an actor who plays the stoic and gravitas well. He first began his acting career in high school in a short film for the Country Crime Solvers division. He later would secure a theater role before making the move to Los Angeles by himself at the age of 23. Wow, going to La La Land on your own, 23. Yeah. Further securing short films and indie films and learning his way around major sets at the studio lots, which I've been on those lots, and it's like Beirut. So it's like more out there. He would befriend such talent as Tony Rock and Ron G. He would spend a short time in Los Angeles, filling up his resume with 10 credits before moving back home to Virginia and securing his SAG-AFTRA card. For people that don't know, that's Screen Actors Guild AFTRA in 2014. So you've had that for at least a decade. And it says he secured his first first role in the film. My lips are blah this morning. For the film Loving, which you had mentioned earlier, which was Oscar nominated, and says here he would later star in several commercials as a hand model. Hand model. Let me see your hands, man.
Hey,
don't even play around with me. What the hell you selling? Sledgehammers?
I keep a clean cuticle, man. I keep a clean cuticle, so they like to use them.
Oh, God. You said the word cuticle. Oh, my God. This is getting unbelievable. I didn't expect this, man. First is the Wi-Fi, now this. All right, so you were a hand model and a principal actor in between securing another film role in the movie Miss Virginia with a scene opposite Uduba, Crazy Eyes from Orange Is the New Black. And you further worked along with filmmakers in Richmond, Virginia, and a coup of pilot presentation. So that's pretty cool there. So you've got some background, definitely, and it's scaled over the years. It says right here, it says Brian Elliott shines in diverse roles across film and television. And that's from just as recently as June 30th, I see on there. And obviously, you have acting prowess and you're versatile. And that's what they're looking for. I mean, do you feel like sometimes, I've talked to a lot of actors over the years. Do you get typecast? Honestly.
I get typecast more of the straight guy, like the police officer, the politician, somebody who's a businessman, kind of the stoic gravitas. Yeah, I think one time I did kind of play out a character with a role in an independent movie called Your Pomegranate, which people can find on my YouTube page. Actor Brian Elliott. It's called Your Pomegranate. I played a blue-collar bigot. So as you can tell, that was kind of came off as comedy. So it was just like, I hated everybody. I dated a white woman, and it came off as pure comedy. And
so much for the stereotype. We just threw 25 to 35 years out the goddamn window just now. What the fuck, man? I should have asked questions that I'm normally in this industry. We ask questions we already know the answers to. Can you tell us that we're not 100% on our game this afternoon? Well, it's stoic roles that a man of authority, obviously, and stature and everything, and it's gritty. I mean, you can be heartfelt, but it can be gritty. I mean, they're looking for you have to have a certain look, even before you read one line. If you don't have the look, that could be it. Or you might have the look and you can't read for shit. You know what I mean? Or hopefully you're going to get both. And that is, and then it gets very, convoluted to, okay, can you do that? Can you do this? Okay, so he's an African American. Can we put him in this role? And I've heard, like I said, I've spoke to people where they didn't see them on camera. They only heard like voice because, from the voice acting that I've done over the years. And they didn't realize that someone was white or Latino or African American or whatever it was. Does that happen still? Honestly, does that happen where someone goes, well, we need a certain thing and they're just going to hire you just because you're African American? Does that happen? Because I wouldn't know. But
yes, it does happen.
It does. That's what I thought.
Yes.
I appreciate your honesty.
Yes.
Still in 2024.
Yes.
So we don't give a if he could act or whatever. We just need to get that look first, and everything is secondary. So you're not.
It's crazy you say that. It's crazy you say that because I would say this, and I've read the statistic before. It was like it said that 93% of you getting cast was based off of a type. 7% had to do with talent. So if you can imagine a casting director looking at you, and you could be the next, Meryl Streep or the next, Bryan Cranston, but if you don't fit their mold for the movie or the project, and you can't play off the characters as a type, they just might not hire you. So that's kind of the reality of it all.
So you could comfortably say, well, when I say comfortably, you can say it without making any bones about it. Even in 2024, where we are right now, you still experience, or have you experienced recently, any type of, okay, so you're looking for a certain role. So whether the person is white, black, Chinese, it shouldn't matter. It should be how they read, but you have to have that because it's visual and not radio. Obviously, they have to have that look. You can only do so much in wardrobe. You can only do so much with makeup and that kind of thing. Do you find that to be racist? Or am I overstepping by saying that? Because I hear all different things, but I don't know. I'm not in that business. I heard that it's just as bad, if worse than this one, where there's a lot of greedy people out there that, they're just looking to make it on your back, so to speak. You know what I mean? Do you see that still? Or
I would advise anybody. Yeah, I would advise anybody stepping into this arena to know there is a 75% likelihood that you're getting cast off of your type, your look.
Typecast.
Your look, your color, your frame, your attitude, your demeanor.
And they're not allowed to say this. Obviously, they
can't
say
that. They can't say.
But you know when you know.
You know when you know. I will say that. I will say you that. You know when you know. There'll be certain times where there's a casting breakdown that says open to all ethnicities, but the character breakdown, daughter or wife, isn't your type. You know what I mean? So it kind of like, it kind of leads to that being something. Okay, you're saying all open ethnicities, but you really mean something else. So yeah.
Right. So I have to be PC. Yeah. Let's put for all, and then no, you walk in there and they're like, no, and they'll come up with something I'm sure very creative, to say the least. Yeah. You don't have that quite the look that we're looking, that we need. Oh yeah, what's the look you need? White. Like what the. Unbelievable. Who would even say? But I would assume that was something. I appreciate your honesty because we're friends. But there's a lot of people out there that no, that doesn't really happen. That's just in the movies, or that's just a rumor. Sometimes there's some truth. I mean, people twist things around all the time. So there's a little bit.
That happens. It happens.
A lot of BS. A lot of shit that happens. Like all sorts of bullshit, and you got to kind of navigate through that as well.
Yeah.
On top of already being nervous and reading for it. And then if you get hired, and then negotiation, and then post-production, and sometimes they'll cut you out of the damn film.
I've
Not for
had that
that reason.
happen.
I'm just saying. Yeah.
I've had that happen. Yeah. So
I have a friend of mine that was in Pretty Woman, and he didn't have a credit on there. They get paid for the movie because they cut him completely out. Yeah, I can't say the name of who it was, but it was
yeah. I got my credit and I got my residuals. I'll say that. So
do you get now? Is that something that you can? I don't know if you can live on anything in 2024 at this point, but residuals, is that a real thing? Where do you just get like a check in the mail, like just you don't know it's coming?
You know what's crazy? I think I missed that residual boat. I do get residuals. I don't get the like thousands of dollars upon thousands of dollars in residuals. That kind of went out once streaming came in. And that's what the actor strike was about, was the lack of residuals. But
so the strike was partially because, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Brian. So partially because you're not getting, what is that? What's the connection with streaming in that? Do you need a contract with the actual distributor to get that, or how does that work?
Basically what it was about was the fact that they were licensing older shows onto the new streamers, and they weren't paying a residual. They like how, Full House or some other show was re-airing on cable, and you could get a check from that. You would get a residual check every time it re-aired, right? Once it goes into a streamer, let's say they license Breaking Bad onto Netflix, they're only paying the producers, and out of the producers' pocket, they pay the actors. Now, that's all they see. They don't see the re-airing or the each viewing that you would get on cable or television. So that kind of was the reason why a lot of the strike went on. Not only was it about AI, and self-taping conditions, it was also about residuals and royalties for actors that worked on these television shows and are no longer receiving royalties and residuals for streamers.
So you have to have a contract with the actual distribution house to be able to get that. Like,
you got to be Netflix or Paramount. You got to be the Jerry Seinfeld to see money from a Netflix. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be the executive producer or the producer to see real money from licensing the show and syndication to a streamer like Netflix or Amazon.
So where does your residuals from that come from, or is there none? You said the producer.
Yeah, so we get through the union, we get a percentage in a pool from the producer's gross receipts. So producer gets millions of dollars for syndication to a streamer. We are allocated 3.6% of his receipts in a pool for that movie or for that television show to the actors. So if you split that up, it's a pool.
So everybody gets the same amount. Is that what you're trying to say? Like everybody
it's bracketed off. So like if you're the lead, you'll get more of a bigger pool. If you're supporting, you get a smaller but bigger pool than the day player.
Percentage wise.
Yeah, percentage wise.
Like your percentage is lead actor, supporting actor, and just making an appearance. So there's all three. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's interesting. I actually didn't realize that it worked like that.
Yeah.
Is that good? 3.6? I don't know if that's good or bad, depending on
you got to be. You pretty much have to be on a Friends or Law and Order SVU for it to make a real difference.
Well, why don't you do that, man? You can top.
I got to come up to New York, man. Yeah, I got to do that.
Well, actually, they filmed that in LA, but it's
Okay.
I swear you would be able to. I mean, they could use some more cursing on that show. It's not enough. I mean, it's very nice. Speaking of, we had that. Yeah, they filmed that or they record that. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, it's out in LA, but it's obviously it's for. But they probably do stuff around here. They actually were at my old high school. One of the SVU. I think it was 2003 or something like that. It was years after I graduated.
Okay.
Right at my old high school, they were on a football field, and that was actually where I played here in New Jersey. So, yeah, and I didn't even realize it until like 2 years later. I never saw that episode or whatever. I was sick. I was homesick, and I'm like, wait a second. Like, I got my ass kicked on the 30-yard line right there. I can't forget that.
Is that where I
So,
left my mouthpiece at?
I think, and probably a couple of molars. But anyway, yeah. Well, you didn't have to have the ball in my high school to get hit. Trust me.
Okay.
But in any event, yeah. But it's that's interesting though, and I appreciate your honesty and your being direct like that, because some people are very aloof. Some people are they're not going to be very direct. And believe me, I deal with that all the time. They'll talk their own meme, or they'll just again say what you have to say. I don't know. That's I've always been, that's me. I'd be direct. We're like, look, what the is going on here? So, but that's good. They do. So, do you have anything? What's going on right now? Do you have anything in the works? Any irons in the fire, so to speak?
Right now, I got a couple of irons in the fire. I could talk a little bit about those. Right now, we released a shared secret, which that police officer clip was from. We released that. We premiered it in theaters in Ashland, Virginia, which is outside of Richmond, at a theater, and we're looking for streaming distribution for that. Another clip from that with the daughter is called Suspended Disbelief, where I play a doting dad of the young character who befriends the older gentleman who is on kind of a journey of reconciliation about his life, because he's dying pretty much. And it's a heartwarming story of reminiscing about your life while facing your future. So I played a doting dad on that one, and we're looking for streaming services for that.
So when you say you're looking for streaming,
they're looking for distribution, pretty much. Yeah. So
they're shopping that.
They're shopping it right now. Yes. It's in the can. It's a finished product. It just needs to be shopped.
Okay.
And currently,
so is that where things go now? Rather than just going right to, like, remember we would say, okay, if something's in the theater, the logo is there, it must be better. And then if it went right to video, remember, like, oh, this is shitty, you know what I mean? But that's not even the case anymore. It could be great. It could be a Netflix original, a Prime Video, a Paramount, any one of these, Hulu, Amazon, whatever it is.
This is a different scenario because they're totally independent. You'll probably find them more online of a Tubi-ish. But when you talk about the major films, Tubi's free. Now, quality-wise, probably is a disparity. But if you're talking about these major movies now, the studios are rather save money on releasing it straight to, even though they're spending a bunch of money, sending it straight to a Netflix or Apple TV, they don't want to take the risk of losing money in theater. So they would rather send it straight to their platform where they have a subscriber base and get it going that way instead of
makes sense.
Risking it at theaters. That's been the biggest.
If that goes into the theater, if it goes into the theater, if it doesn't do well there, that would hurt the chances of it being like streaming wise, or they won't be able to get as much money for it. Do I have that kind of?
No, you got it right. Yeah, it will hurt his chances in the ancillary market, whether it be whatever's up to DVD or whatever's they can get from the streamer. So they
still have DVDs. That's awesome.
Yeah, a little bit.
I have them for coasters.
Yeah,
they make nice coasters.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting, actually. So back in this, so things have changed. So it used to be, okay, so you wanted to do well, you want to make sure you get an R rating and not, if you get an NR, not as good a non-rating one. We all know about that kind of stuff. Okay, great. And so that's kind of transcended into other things. So now it's all about, well, we don't want to hurt our brand, our thing. So we have to market our film, because there's a lot of films, as I was talking earlier with another actor. He has this stuff on Amazon, and it's about people buying this or getting Prime, let's say, or whatever the case may be. You have to really watch your brand. You want to see how it's going to go. You don't want to do anything to shoot yourself in the foot, so to speak. So it's on the distribution. It's about the viewership, about subscribers, and different from back in the day. Remember, and once again, I'll reiterate, if something went right from movies right to DVD, I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? I'd be like, oh, this sucks. You know what I mean? But I'm like, why would I even go in there? I love movie theaters. I love sticking to the floor when I walk, when you're walking and everything, and the popcorn is, now it's like, you have like waiters and shit. But back then it was just regular. I love the movies, and I know that that's going to be something of the past, kind of like phone booths and whatever.
Well, they won't totally do
I
it.
still like that.
Yeah, they won't totally do away with theaters. I think what'll happen is they'll only put a select type of movie into theaters. You have your tent poles, your franchises, your children's movies, and your horror films, and that'll probably be all that you'll find in the movie theater moving forward.
So say that again. That was interesting. Horror films, children's films, and what were the other two? You said there was four, right?
And franchises and tent poles. So you're talking about your Marvels, your DC Comics, your Bad Boys 5, and your Fast
Blockbuster. Are they up to 5 already?
Yeah, well, they did 4. They did 4. They'll probably do 5. So,
oh my God, how bad could they be? Now they're like 16 years old. I mean, how bad? The only thing bad is the fact that they even made another one.
Well,
I usually by 2, I'm done. I don't want to see it.
You did hear that they were thinking about coming out with the Lethal Weapon 5, right?
Would you stop it? You're not that lethal. You're not that lethal. You could play young Danny Glover then. There you go. Because he's got to be like 70 years old, probably, right? He's got to be. You're like, how old are you? Unbelievable. I mean, I like Danny Glover. Don't get me wrong. Hey, you could do something. Just go in there and just do hey, like we'll call you like Romeo or something. Be like, hey, Romeo, what are you looking at? You know what I mean? Like stuff like that would be funny. We need more cursing, definitely in daytime TV. We need stuff. I don't know about anybody else. I find that would be boring, but that's just me. I'd rather put on the Golf Channel and just nod out. That's my way of having like happy trees, like a happy cloud.
Oh yeah,
you're just sitting back there. But well, I mean, it sounds like you like what you do. You get the calls that you get. You work with you have an agent that will work and help negotiate your terms and everything. Mm-hmm. And I guess trying to stay busy. That's what I've always heard from actors, no matter A-lister all the way down to the guy that just makes the occasional cameo, whatever it is.
Yeah.
The fact that, or background, the fact that working. They always say the same thing for years. Keep working. An actor doesn't want to be out of work. Stack it. Because you don't know. It could be 5 things and then that's it, done. So you always, want to say yes to everything. Then you would be Gene Hackman. But what you don't want to do is pass on something that could lead to something else. You know what? You might not be right for this, Brian, but I have something that's in the works right now. Boom. And there's your opportunity. Right place, right time. Brian Elliott. I mean,
it happens like
what I'm saying there. It sounds like
it happens like that. You do want to consistently be doing something forward, moving forward. Working forward. Yeah. Forward moving in your career. Like whether that's, let's say you have a lull between gigs, you want to be taking a class. You want to be getting new headshots. You want to update your reel. You want to be doing something between gigs that'll move your career forward. Sometimes it may be just doing a commercial, stay busy, keeping sharp. You'll find A-listers will sit in on an acting class. They'll audit a class and do that.
That's not too daunting, having like De Niro sitting there like just.
Yeah, I know, right? That isn't intimidating.
As you were, pretend he's not even there. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Yeah, no problem, man. It's like having Al Pacino sitting. That's like having like Howard Stern sitting next to me, going, "No, just be normal." Mm-hmm. That's interesting. That's some insight that a lot of people. I mean, I know they wouldn't know. And I'm just looking at your stuff. The reason I'm looking at the teletype because it keeps coming up. And it says that here, and I'm just paraphrasing, but I'm trying to read it verbatim. And it says, I hope the audience leaves with a sense of humor as my character chews out his personnel on the force. Then they're talking about when you played the Lieutenant George Hardaway.
Yeah.
The film that was said that it was released on digital platforms. So I'm just reading it right off of there for you. Okay. And it says, I hope the audience leaves with a sense of humor as my character chews out his personnel on the force, Elliott says. So they're quoting you. This is from something that they obviously interviewed you with. It says the film explores the intense narrative of a cop covering up a bad shoot while entangled with a mob boss's girlfriend. Well, that happens here every day. This is North Jersey. Many have tried and many have died. All right, anyway. But not sorry. No, I'm kidding. But it's interesting stuff though, because you could fill a lot of roles. I mean, you could do you'd be like the softer one, like the family guy that we saw, like a family thing being around, like children and that kind of thing, and then being a hard ass, doing that like a lieutenant type of thing, which reminds me of the lieutenant. I can't remember the actor's name in the first one, the 48 Hours with Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy and everything. I can't remember. The big lieutenant came out screaming and yelling and cursing.
Yeah,
you know who I'm talking about? Like I could picture you doing like, what the are you doing in this month? And then they'd be like, cut. They're like, no cut.
Yeah.
I like that though. Film noir, heartfelt family dramas, compelling web series. Elliott's performances captivate audiences, and critics will like. Well, that's very nice for them to say that. I like that.
Yeah.
And says that you're diverse. You have to be versatile. You have to be able to be in the right place at the right time, and always. Do you still get butterflies? Do you still get nervous? I don't, but I do obviously something that's different. But I still get tongue tied. I did it earlier. You know, it happens. We're human beings. Does that happen to you where you have everything down and then all of a sudden?
Yeah, I get more excited than I get nervous, if that makes sense.
Yeah, actually, it does to me.
Yeah.
Can you explain it for everybody else that isn't as cool as
I guess it's more of a more heightened. You're more aware. You're more on like that than you are necessarily nervous, or try not to be as nervous. It's all about repetition, because if you're used to doing something, whether that's just coming out of class, or you're always practicing at home with your monologue or whatever, you won't have that nervousness about your career, because they say if you're nervous, that means you're unprepared. But
did they say that? Because I've never been nervous in my life. Thank you. Good night.
They say the nerves come from being unprepared, but it's okay to have butterflies. But the nerves, they say, is come from
keeps you on your toes. Frankie Fear.
But hey, I mean, it's okay. I think sometimes get you through some of the tougher parts of your career, whether that means standing up in front of some people that you aren't quite used to, or the power players or whatever. It'll get you through some stuff. So, yeah.
I see it on this end. I'm a voice actor, but I've done some acting, but it's not something that I even really. That wasn't my thing. I always wanted to do what I do, and you fit that bill very well. So, but there's a lot of parallels. There's definitely a lot of things that you can associate, because entertainment is entertainment. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much the way that I see it as well. Mm-hmm. Some people are either on one side of the fence or you're on the other. And the other side, that's what makes them the audience. Can't be both. You know that, and I know that, Brian. So it's I'm glad to be where I am, and so are you. But as far as butterflies and everything, not really. I haven't gotten that in a very, very long time.
Right.
I mean, I've been doing this since I was 15 years old. But I understand what you said. Does that make sense? And I meant it. I wasn't just saying, yeah. No, I know the difference between being nervous and being excited. I get exhilarated. I see that we have a bubble. It'll say 3, 2, 1, and then live. I'm ready to rock and roll, man. Like I jump right into it. I do not have any fear. Neither do you. That's when you know that you're honing your craft. You're owning it. You're not going to go around here and be like, I wonder what's going to happen. I don't know. I mean, you have to memorize lines. I used to. Now I just said, I'm just going to say whatever I want. It's a little bit of a different industry, but it's organic. It's real. People will see. I say this to my audience all the time. People will see right through you if you're not being genuine. You know this, Brian. I don't care if you're in Virginia, in LA, in New York. If you don't know who you are, how the hell are they supposed to know who you are?
That's true.
That's not just a something that you're going to put on a t-shirt. That's really how I feel about it. And I can tell that you are. I mean, obviously you're a special guy. You know what I mean? It's not as easy. Just read this script and just do it really good. Well, you could do it with an accent. You could do it differently. You could do it and stay in character and try to surprise them, try to jolt them, shock them, whatever. People don't realize I've read a billion scripts in my life. I'm sure you have too. It feels that way anyway. You don't know. You could do it 60 different ways.
Yeah.
One paragraph can be read different accents, different ways, highs, lows, falsetto, Can you touch on that really quick? How do you approach a script? Just what you think they want, or do you say, all right, cut, or do you have to ask for a line like, hey, line?
No.
Try to memorize. Are you good at memorizing? Like real quick?
I'm pretty decent at memorizing. I'm not going to say I follow the script 100%. I would say about 85, 95% that I got the script down.
That's still a very good percentage. And they said, once again, there'd be no math, Brian, but you're doing pretty well.
Yeah. So I guess when I approach a script, I'm more or less reading into it to see how this person will react opposite of whoever they're playing against. I've heard of a lot of actors saying that they create a bio for that character, meaning giving them a backstory. I've heard that a lot of times they will put a scene into their lives, meaning that they will pull from their memory to accentuate how they will perform that role. So it can go either way. You can create a character for them, or you can actually pull from your memory or experiences and see if you. And they always tell you, if you're an actor, go live your life as well. You don't want to be stuck just doing routine, work on your career. You want to be out there living life a little bit, so you do have those experiences. Those experiences give your character depth. A lot of times, just trying to create something without having a reference point, it'll lead to a boring performance. So having that kind of experience in life will help you out as well.
So real life experience will get you to have, well, that's something that you use in your acting. I mean, obviously you would put that into a script. Oh, you know what? Okay, I assume it would look like this and smell like this, and I would approach it this way. And then do you just drop into it? That's what I would do. I would go all in, or not at all. Like I would become, being a character actor, right? To fill a role. I mean, you have to become that person. You can't just read for that character. You have to be that character. That's the way I see it. Do you see it the same way?
And I do, and that may be why a little bit of typecasting goes on, because they know that you can say,
"Good point."
He's 6'3", he's 220. He's going to be a bodyguard. If he's not here,
are you 6'3"?
I'm 6'2". Yeah.
So am I. All right. So I feel better now. The last guy we had on was 6'2". I'm like, God damn, I'm always the shortest one, and I'm 6'2". I'm like, this is starting to really get on my nerves now.
Yeah. So if they feel like you could be a bodyguard out in the real world, they probably feel like you could do it on set. That kind of thing.
Okay.
That's the kind of life experiences that they try to pull from out of those actors that they hire. So that kind of goes into that. So yeah.
So they're visualizing at the same time. They're watching you, rock your script right there and doing what you're doing. And so I don't know what goes through your mind. I remember when I read lines for it, I would memorize it almost immediately. But sometimes the stuff is written like total, and you don't want to go off script. But you admitted before you gave a percentage. I think that was a little bit of shit. But I'm just saying. I know that I go off script, or I have, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to wing it. Either they're going to hate it or love it, but I don't give a. That's the way I see this character. If you don't see me in that role, then I'm not going to read it that way, because sometimes it's not written. The writers don't write it; they write it on paper. They don't write it for somebody. They don't have anyone. Well, sometimes they have.
Well, that's true. That's true. I mean, when I say 85, 95%, I'm talking more or less. If you're in a film role and they give you permission to riff a little bit, then then you would kind of dialogue a riff, or
make it yours,
make it yours. Yeah, make it your own. So but I tell you what though, if you're on a TV show and that script supervisor says no, you got to do the line like it is, you better do the line like it is, or you could get fired. I've heard of stories of that happening where, and
I actually
No,
go ahead. I that was actually leading into my next question, my final question, as we have to wrap it up. But I was just going to say, is there a difference reading for TV? Obviously, there's going to be regular differences, but reading a script that you get in front of live audience. I mean, there's people right there. Whether you're recording it and they're playing it on their big screen on the wall, whatever it is, or in person, which they used to do prior to COVID. I'm guessing they're going back to that a little bit. Do you have to read that much? Do you have more leeway reading for a film rather than TV? Can you make that distinction, or can you go off script more with this side and not so much that side? Are they more like a hard ass and we can't get around with this, or something like that? Or you'd be like, oh, I can't, and I'm not being 100% Brian Elliott by doing that. What's your thoughts on that? Like, what would you write? What's your preference? Because I know that TV
film
does not pay as much as film. That much I do know.
Film is my preference. Yeah. I would still do TV. Film is they allow you more leeway on film, and in TV it's more or less the writer being the creator as well as the showrunner, so they'll probably be more of a stickler. They'll tell you, hey, you got to get that line down.
And
Unless
you said you could get fired for that.
yeah, yeah. Unless you're like, you're on a sitcom and they want you to ad lib a little bit. That's one thing. But more or less, if you're on TV, it's more strict with the dialogue, and on film, it's more leeway. But you still gotta have the lines down.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think there's less leeway there? Because they have to have commercials and it's in front of a live audience. Is that why?
It could.
Maybe that's part of it.
I guess. I mean, it's more compact. That's what my reasoning is. It's more compact dialogue with television. You have more or less less monologues, more one or two liners, and if you're flubbing that, then it's like you're throwing off the story a little bit.
Flubbing. I use that word all the time. I like that word. I don't even know if I did flub anything. I just like saying it. Anytime you can get the word flubbing in,
yeah,
it's always been a good thing. All right, so let me ask you one last question, if you'll indulge our audience here at 88.7 FM. All right, so Mr. Brian Elliott, what's your final, I wouldn't say final, but where you're at now in life with your career and everything that's going on, and you're still a relatively young man, where do you see yourself? And I'm not going to ask a cookie cutter question. I don't do that stuff.
Okay.
What do you want to do that you've always wanted to do acting wise, since we'll keep on topic, that you haven't had the opportunity, not that you didn't get it, but that you didn't even have the opportunity to at least try out for it, to say, hey, you know what? I danced with the good guy. You know what I mean? With the top guy. Is there something like that exist in your mind? Like something like you never got the chance to do that. Do you have one of those rocks that haven't been turned over type of thing? I'm just curious.
Pilot season. I had one pilot season audition. I would like to be actually filming the pilot. So that kind of is something I would like to do. Right now, I am attached to a show called Redemption. They're planning on filming in Texas. Scheduled to be a series regular. And we're still working out the kinks and the negotiations. But this was without even auditioning for it. So we'll see how that goes. It's being distributed by Warner Brothers, and we're either going to be on Netflix or Amazon Prime. So
it's already a done deal. You already did it.
We haven't filmed it yet. Yeah, we're in negotiations and stuff. So yeah, agent has to be involved and all that good stuff. So yeah.
They're just Warner Brothers or whoever is going to gain the rights to it if it does go anywhere.
There you go.
Obtaining it.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. So they're going to, if this gets wings,
if this gets
grabs legs, or whatever you want, right? Got it. They want to make sure that they're ready to go, so they're already hedging their bets. All right. So definitely want to be a pilot, and obviously, to be a pilot, but to be in a pilot where it actually could become a series, because obviously for those that might not know, I don't know how that's possible. It all starts out, especially with TV, is a pilot, and if that pilot does well enough, then it's picked up and they make a series out of it, or at least a season, and then depending on how well that works, get picked up for another one, and that's the money is more, it gets more out there, and people binge watch. I was talking about this earlier today, so that's always a good thing. All right, so being in the pilot, so you can procure one of those, you would be a happy man, right, Brian?
Yes. Getting a step closer every day. So
the only time you fail is when you stop trying, right?
There you go.
But I appreciate your honesty, and you're a good guy, man. I'm glad that we met and everything, and then we'll definitely follow up with you. And let me put you, so it's up on there for those that are listening in, because they'll hear this later on Spotify. Let me read it out. It's Brian Elliott, and it's imdb.me/Brian Elliott. That's ELLIOTT. And as far as following him on his social media, obviously you're on X as well, right? What's your handle on X again?
My handle on X is bsmith326.
Okay, there you go. But you had the other one, and we'll put this on there for those that are listening in on 88.7 FM. So those that are watching right now, probably on YouTube or on Facebook, there you have it. www.facebook.com/WannaLead, WANNALEAD. And that's how to find my man Brian here on Facebook. So you can follow him on IMDb. You can follow him on Facebook and definitely on YouTube. And we already know his reel and his. I'm clicking out on here. We had the demo before, and it's under your name. So there it is. It's Brian Elliott on YouTube. So they can just put in Brian Elliott, and they'll find your mug. And there you are.
All right.
So I wanted to say thank you. I appreciate, like I said, being honest about it, about everything that you were honest about. I've got to tell you, it's far and few between. I've been very lucky and blessed that I could have people on our show here at WGAT that, they're able to feel comfortable enough where they can let it fly. There's no judgment. Some people are just seen, but they're not really heard. And you've been both this evening. So I wanted to thank you, Brian. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Elliott. And so you check them out, and hopefully we'll see you soon. That way you can sign. I'll be like, you know what? I'm not just signing. I'm going to sign some, for me, man. Where's my stuff? How come I don't get it around here? Yeah.
We can get you that.
Okay. I just like bleeping myself. You know how you like to say flub? I like to say kid, but that's fine. It's all good. In Jersey, that's a term of endearment. But I appreciate you, my man. We're going to have you stop by and rock out with us when we do our Saturday night shows that stream and that are live on the air and everything. We'll send you.
Sounds great. Thank you for having me.
We'll send you to cook. Oh, you're welcome anytime, my man. All right. So we will say goodbye to Brian. We'll wave bye-bye to Brian. Bye, Brian. See you soon, my man. Good luck with everything. You deserve the best. Appreciate him taking time to he spent some time. That's something you always thank people for, by the way, for the people that are listening in and watching it both. You can never get time back, no matter about your health, about wealth, anything. You always thank somebody for their time. That's the one thing that no matter what, that we all have that in common, amongst other things. But number one, can't get that back. Always thank people for their time, which I do for that gentleman right there.